Evening, everybody. It is 6:13, and this is your closing comment for today, Tuesday, the 5th of December, and it is video 1998. Okay, so the market was down, and more than just the averages, it was really down. Um, we had a couple of stocks in the Nasdaq that dragged things up. One of them, of course, was the big bounce in Nvda, and the other was Apple. Apple's an interesting one because it's not that Apple did anything; it's that Foxconn, who is their biggest parts and assembly facilities, reported an upswing. So everybody figured it, you know, Foxconn up, Apple up. In the meantime, when you looked at the overall market, the NYSE was 5 to 2 to the downside. I saw volume as ugly as 3.5 or 4 to 1 on the downside. And so the Dow closed down about $80. NASDAQ closed up 44.22. Again, Apple up almost $4, and just take a last look here at Nvda. Nvidia was up 10.78, or just short of 2.5%. Closed pretty much on the high, and of course everybody figures, well, it was just 505, and then yesterday's low was 450, so it must be a buy. So uh, good luck. Um, in other news, we had Procter and Gamble. They're taking a huge write down on Gillette. They bought it in 2005, and the market was certainly very different. I believe that the valuation on the deal was 54 billion. Their most recent valuation is 14 billion, and that includes this $1.3 billion write-off. Um, when they did this deal, everybody, including Warren Buffett, was all excited about it. Pampers for the women and shaving for the men, and what a great combination. Except that the proliferation of things like Dollar Shave Club and others are really killing Gillette here. So, in the meantime, the stock was 146 and three quarters today, down $5.31. CVS, which this morning I mentioned, and it was only slightly higher. Actually, the CEO was on and had a lot of good things to say. What they're doing with drug prices won't go into effect for another year, but it's very interesting. And of course, they have had that combination of CVS, Minute Clinic, and Aetna. So they can really be a powerhouse. And if you doubt that, just look at what it's done relative to Walgreens. Now the stock is down. I mean, I sold some at 102 and change, but I still have half. And maybe I'll take a look at adding it back. 71.11 up 236, or 3.84%. GitLab, that this morning I mentioned to you, that's the one that they reported a beat on revenues, a miss on earnings, but great guidance. It was trading at 60.41. It did get as high as 61.27 in the real world, but it closed at 58.81. Still up over 11%, $5.88. And Sphere, which I mentioned this morning. When I This is the big ball that you've seen advertised or shown off on TV. It's attached to the Venetian in Las Vegas. They're doing a $225 million convertible senior note. This morning, when I talked about it, it was 29 and a half, down $4.12. It managed to sink all the way down to 27.02. The close here was 27.95, down 567 or 17%. It's difficult to try and figure how they're actually going to make money on that in the intermediate run. I mean, it literally, I believe it cost 2 billion to build, and they only carry it on their books at about half that. I don't know whether that's really good or bad. Before I get to the futures, I just want to go over a couple of things here in the regular markets. Today we had two PMI readings. Both of them were positive. Those are above and below 50. The global U.S. services PMI 50.7, up from 50.8, up from 50.6. Non-manufacturing PMI from ISM 52.4 versus 51.8. That looked like everybody took that as a pickup in activity. I'm not sure I understand how that is supportive of a soft landing if things are still getting stronger. The October JOLTS number, which is job openings, was 8,773,000. That was substantially better from 9,350,000. That shows less jobs available. Tomorrow morning at 7, we have the mortgage applications. The prior was up 0.3%, so not much to look for there. We have the November ADP employment change at 8:15. Consensus is 127,000. Last month was 113,000. 8:30, we have third quarter productivity and unit labor costs. Everybody's looking for those to be about unchanged. And also at 8:30, we have the October trade balance. Doesn't really make any difference. It's a big negative number. Consensus is for minus 64.4. Last month it was 61.5. Okay, back to my favorite charts. This is the bonds. We have basically gotten back to the area that we broke down from here at 120. That's this line, 120. This is a chart that I know you're tired of hearing it, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. This is a chart that since the blow off high in March of 2020 has had a series of lower lows, lower highs, breaks to lower lows, rallies to lower highs, breaks to lower lows. I mean, it's pretty darn consistent. So now we're right back up there at 120, 119, and 1330 seconds. These were up almost $2 today. This is a weekly chart. If we look at it on a daily, you'll see just how extreme this has been, this move from what was another new low. I think we're going to have a lot of trouble here. Wouldn't surprise me to see it turn back. It is rolling over on the MACD. Relative strength is all the way up here at 68 or so. Last time it was there, we were in the middle of making yet another lower low, but also a top. So I don't know if I'm going to play it to the short side, but it certainly looks inviting. As far as the rest of the markets, the grains were mixed to slightly higher today. Crude was down about 70 cents and is down another 20 tonight. Nat gas was up a penny and a half. It's down half that now. The gold was down 590. It is basically unchanged. Same with the silver. The dollar had a nice bounce today. It was actually uh, around 104, and that was up another 35 cents after yesterday's move of 45 cents to the upside. Bitcoin continues to fly. 44 at the close today was 44,290. Tonight it's already up another 205 and getting pretty close to 45,000. And the bonds are down 1/32 after being up just short of $2 full today. All right, folks, I'll be back. By the way, we took a profit in our ConAgra position. I'm a little skeptical of the market here. As I said, advanced declines were horrendous, advancing declining volume were horrendous. You know, if you want to stick your head in the sand and say, oh, yeah, Apple, but Nvda, you know, do it at your own risk.